Welcome to this session of product design and value engineering. In today's session, we'll talk about design for safety. Our main concern will be design for safety. Meanwhile, we'll talk about some other considerations like vibration and sound and other things that one need to keep in mind while designing a product. First, let us talk about design for safety. Now, safety is main criteria while we are designing any product which is critical in operation. Many companies of tagline we have seen that their taglines are safety first, production must. That means that they are emphasizing that safety should be there, that is the first priority, but production should also be there. Production should not stop and safety should be ensured. And we will see how we can achieve this. Now, while we are talking about a product and designing of product, we are talking about safety in using the product. So, safe to use, product should be safe to use. Product should be safe even if product is failing. So, even if my product failed, then there should not be any damage to any other person or other properties. So safe even if it fails, and safe to recycle or dispose. This is also important. When the product life cycle is over, we should be able to safely recycle it, or we should be able to safely dispose it. Suppose some company, some defense company is manufacturing some landmines. So function of landmine is to make a blast when someone steps on it. Now that landmine has a life cycle or say 50 years. So after 50 years, we should be able to safely dispose those landmines. The design should be such that those landmines should be safely disposable. We can uh, dispose them or make them inactive without even triggering them. It should be safe to dispose. Or if we are making any product which we want to recycle, then it can be safely recycled. It should be, it can also be ensured during the design that product will be easily recyclable and safely recyclable. We'll see how to achieve these functions. But keep in mind that when we are talking about safety, we are talking about safe while we use the product, safe even if the product failed, and safe after the life cycle. So we heard that many product such that batteries, cell phone batteries. So on the back of the battery, it is written that careful while recycling, or do not disclose, do not throw in dustbin. While they have written that, because if they are left unattended, chances are there that the battery might blast. So we are designing products that are safe to recycle or dispose also. Keep this in mind. Okay. Now let us see what we mean by safe even if fails. So when a failure occurs, product should be safe. If you have designed a car and if your car's brake fails or sometime accident happens, so during this failure the people who are in the car should be safe. And how we can achieve that? We can provide safety features such as airbags or other fail-safe features. We have seen that in electronic components there is a third wire which is neutral, earthing wire. Earthing wire is also an example of fail-safe design. Even if your product fails, even if there is short circuit, and even if a wire comes in contact with a metal surface, due to this providence of earthing wire you will not be electrocuted. So that is a fail-safe design. In the our example, in a car, even if there is accident, then the airbag will help. Airbag and seat belts, also the headrest, all these are safety features. So these features will help to ensure that the user is safe even during the failure of product. This is called as fail safe. Now we can give also redundancy. Redundancy is failure of one component and we are giving extra components so that our product does not become inoperational due to this single component failure. So redundancy is basically an extra uh, component which is there to ensure that the critical functions of product might not stop. Redundancy are of two types. One is parallel redundancy. In parallel redundancy, we are giving more number of components than there are required. Multiple components are used at same time. We see these in lifts. In lifts, there are so many number of these steel cables which are supporting the weight of the lift. Now the interesting fact is that even one of these steel cable is strong enough to lift to sustain the entire weight of lift or to lift our lift. So why we are giving these extra cables? Because even if this one cable fails, we are making sure that the other cables are there and our lift will not fall on the ground due to failure of only one cable. And we are using all these four cables simultaneously. So this is redundancy in parallel. So what we are doing is we are giving extra components than required and we are using all those extra components at same time. We see this type of features redundancy in parallel in airplanes also. There are many big planes which have multiple engines. Now interesting fact is only one or two of those engines are enough to operate the entire aeroplane, to fly the entire aeroplane. But why we are providing three or four engines in plane? Normally most of big engines have big planes have four engines nowadays. So why we are giving four engines instead of one, even one if enough? Because we are providing extra safety. We are providing redundancy so that even if one engine fails, the aeroplane will not fall or will not crash. And this is redundancy of parallel because in airplane also all the engines are running at the same time, where there can be redundancy in standby. Now this redundancy comes into play only if the component fails. Otherwise, it will be kept as backup. It will not be operational all the time. For example, a backup battery system, a backup power system, as this diesel engine generator. So what we are doing is we are using our normal electricity, normal power supply, but if the power supply, if the main power supply fails, then only this backup system will come into play. So this is redundancy in standby where one component is working and second component is there, but it will be operational only if the first component will fail. Basically what we are doing is we are making sure that even if a component fails, our product is safe and there is nothing to be worried about. When the component fails and our product is safe to operate, so we will operate it for required amount of time, but we will stop it as soon as convenient, and we will replace the failed component. This is safety while failure. Now there should also be safety during operation. When we are operating our product, when we are using it, it should be safe. So how we can ensure that the safety is maintained during operation? First is to identify safety hazards while designing. When we are designing our product, we should be able to identify which are the problems which can be occurred in terms of safety. So if I am designing a knife, I should be aware that if this knife goes to a children, there should be safety hazards. So while designing the product, I am making sure that I identify those safety hazards, how the product will be dangerous. That is what basically I am identifying. And then there are some and we will try to reduce or remove these safety hazards. There are some guidelines to make sure that these safety hazards are reduced. The first is avoiding the sharp edges. If there are sharp edges in our product, then chances are there that some people will get hurt due to these edges. So in most of the products, we are trying to avoid the sharp edges. Instead of sharp edge, we provide chamfers or we provide fillets. Fillets are more preferable than chamfers. In design of our tables, in design of our chairs, we see that chairs or tables do not have sharp edges, but they have bent edges. They are there due to aesthetic also, but also for this safe operation. Then use protective guards in machines. We see that modern lathes are uh, in enclosed covers. Why? The lathe or CNC machines, those are in enclosed covers, because even if there is some problem, then it is contained in that cover only. So during the operations, we are making sure that no chips comes out flying and create a safety hazard. Then grounding the electric panels, this we have already discussed that if we do not ground these electrical panels, then there might be chance of electric shocks. So it is a good practice to ground electric panels to make sure that our product is more safe. Avoid risk of occupational diseases. If you are designing some product which produce some specific types of chemical or which releases some small dust particles, then make sure that there is no risk of occupational diseases. It is also a safe practice to check for occupational diseases due to our product. Then understanding silly mistakes made by users. This is most important, because when you are designing a product, you think that okay, user will use the product in intended way only, but that is not true. When we design a pen, we might think that user will use the pen for writing on paper only. He will not put a pen in his mouth, or he will not put pen in his ears, but that is not true. We all know that we put pens in our mouth and we put pens in our ears. So if we have used material which is harmful for human body if inhaled or if taken by mouth, then it will be a big safety hazard. So we should understand the users work conditions and users silly practices, how user is using the product, and how he is appropriately or inappropriately making or playing with it. And we should keep in mind safety while designing products, and we should also keep in mind that user will not always use the product the way it is supposed to be. he will find some methods to play with the product, or he will find some things to do with the product which is not intentional while designing, and still our product should not harm anyone. So this is also important. And if you find that there is some practice that users might do and that is a safety hazard, then clearly label those safety hazards. We see that our deodorants are inflammable, and user might uh, use to use this deodorant to spray on fire, and it will create safety hazard. To make sure that user don't do that, we give them warning in terms of label. All the deodorants will have this warning that this is inflammable and do not spray on fire or keep away from fire. So this labeling also helps in reducing the hazards and in approving the safety of the product. Okay, now let us see some other things to be considered while designing a product. The first is vision and illumination design. Now in this we are mainly considering three things. First is vision. Vision is what we are seeing and how much clearly we are seeing it. Illumination is basically the amount of light which are there for the product. Now all the LEDs we have seen will not have these features, but most of the lathe machine will have this light source. This light source is there for proper vision and illumination while working on the lathe. Every product should have this proper vision and illumination while working, and to make sure that the proper vision and illumination is there, you should modify your design appropriately. If there is a chance that in your product there is a one corner where the lightning of room will not reach, then you should provide a separate light in your product, such as this, to make sure that the entire work piece or entire operational product where user will be there to use it should be properly illuminated. Okay, and we also while considering vision and illumination, we also see that the product is pleasing. While designing a product, we also focus on aesthetic. So the product should be pleasing on eyes. Now see those two images. One is both are lathes, both have similar features. There is nothing different about them in terms of functionality. But one is very vibrant color, which is not easy on eyes. So we should avoid these vibrant colors if not necessary, and if we do not want to capture the attention of users, because these vibrant colors are not easy on eyes, and there is proven that there are proofs that these have some psychological effects also. So we try to make our product and use these kind of subtle colors in industrial products where someone needs to be in constant uh, use with, in constant contact with this product. But if you are making some toys, or you are making some decorative parts, then you can use these vibrant colors. So colors, choice of color will depend on the use of the product, but you should be considerate about this also. Now sound and vibration is also important while designing a product. Now our most focus will be to reduce the vibration during the use of product. If the vibrations are not intended, of course, there might be some products which in which vibrations are intended. So we are not talking about those products. For example, if we talk about uh, say we are talking about the settling of cement concrete in construction, so there will be a vibration machine which will help to settle those cement concrete effectively. So in that case vibrations are intended, but in normal products we try to reduce the vibration. If we are designing a car, we try to reduce the vibration of the engine and vibrations of the car body. If we are manufacturing fan, we try to reduce the vibration of the fan axis. And if we are reducing these vibrations, as sound is mainly vibration of air, so we are automatically reducing the sound also. If there is sound, then we can be sure that there is a vibrating component somewhere. So we try to reduce the sound, unnecessary sound or noise from the product, and in the process we reduce the vibrations also, or it can be vice versa, depends which is more important for you. For reducing it, we can use damping components which absorbs the vibration, or we can reduce the noise. We can also use noise suppressors if necessary, which are more effective than these damping components, but we should make sure that product should not fail under normal vibrations. This is also a consideration that one should need to keep in mind. We should always check for natural frequency of vibrations so that our product will not fail due to resonance. Also, when your design is complete, measure the sound level and keep it in check with the allowable value, which will be specified by health department as well as by different standards. And if your product is making so much noise, is your product is making much noise and you cannot avoid it, then you should give warning that earplug is required, use of earplug is required. We see that in many power plants vibrations will be there for sure and noise will be also there. So they give warning that okay, earplug is required in this area and this area, so whenever entering on those area you should always wear earplug. The same is true for uh, staff of international airports or any airports for that matter, because the airplane engines will make a very high amount of noise. Jet engines makes very high amount of noise. So the staff of airport which works in close proximity with those planes should always wear this earplug, and it is required. Okay, so this will be all for this session. See you in the next session.